Welcome, everyone, to the Glenwood Coaches Show here on Georgia Alabama Sports live from Mike and Ed's. I'm Thrift Behringer alongside the head football coach of the hottest team in our area, Coach Ryan Nelson. Coach, thank you again for joining us like you do every week.
Yep, Thrift, thank you so much for doing the show tonight. I know Noah's doing the PA announcement for our middle school games.
Yep.
So always a pleasure when I call the A team, the guys come on in. So good to see you, man. Always good to see you. So thank you for coming down here and doing this for us.
No doubt, man. I enjoyed calling the game this past Friday. Anytime I can get free Mike and Ed's barbecue, I'm not turning that down at all, Coach. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. What an incredible week for the Glenwood Gators. Starting 6-0 again in the AHSAA. I mean, just could not have dreamt of a better start. We'll talk about that, what it means for your program here in just a little bit. But the first thing I do want to start on is I go up there and we're about to start the game, and all of a sudden I see the Gators come out in their black uniforms with the white helmets. I got fired up myself, Coach, and made me wish I was suiting up. What went into that thought process? You kept it close to your vest. No one apparently knew about this.
That's right.
So why did you decide to do that? How long have you been keeping on with it?
Well, you know, first and foremost, I did it for the players.
Yeah.
And it's just something that, you know, it's been on my heart for a long time. And people don't understand that when you do something like that, it takes a lot of planning.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of, I actually bought the jerseys, I think, last December.
Oh, wow.
So when you order from Nike and you get them custom made and things like that, I mean, it takes a lot of time for them to get them and process them and doing all that. But
right.
They came in the summer, in July, and, you know, so we kind of had to hide them from the kids and everybody,
Right.
so the coaches knew and everything. So, but you got to kind of pick the right time, the right moment, the right game. And, you know, I kind of felt like I wanted to do it in the opening game against Valley
Right.
because they're getting into a new league and things like that. But when you go back and look at that, how hot it was, it probably wasn't the best idea.
No.
And so we just kind of been holding out. The last home game we had was Schillersburg, and it was a mud pit that night. So I obviously wasn't fit to do it that night, and it just so happened that it was homecoming, and it was a big ball game. And, you know, it was something that when you do something like that, I've been at previous schools where you unreveal the uniforms and things like that. The kids get excited.
They do.
So, you know, we did it about 3 o'clock, and the kids went crazy, and they loved it. So it's just something more that added to the game to kind of get them excited to play, you know,
Right.
a little bit to a higher level for us right there. But it's something I thought turned out really good, and I know the kids and a lot of the fans and everything loved it, so I thought it was a sharp look, and you know, we look fast, and I can tell you that.
Exactly right, and I hope we get to see it more often
That's right.
this upcoming year, Coach. And let's talk about the game against Randolph County. They came in undefeated. They had pretty much won every game by double digits. They had only been giving up 35 points the entire season.
Yeah.
That's 7 points a game.
Right.
And you put up 68 points, 10 touchdowns. I said on the broadcast, right now you are the best play caller in our area. It's not even close. Everything you dial up seems like it's working. Talk about what you saw with your offense with Simpson and Brown and Pender and McCrane. I mean, the weapons are a plethora, and it seemed like everything was working.
Well, going back to what you said right there, it's really funny that you say that. It's the players, it's not me. I'll just be the first one to tell you that. You know, look, our scheme's our scheme. You know, we do what we do, and but we always try to put our guys in the best situation to be successful. But you saw the other night, man. You know, when you got 4, you got 1, you got 12, you got 3. I mean, you got 7, you got 2. I mean, you got River over there. 8. You got so many guys out there, and when you give them opportunities to get an open space and get one-on-one matchups, and they make plays, it makes us all look better as coaches. So, but you know, I can't say enough about our guys offensively. I can't say enough about our offensive line. We executed at a high level, and I thought we played really fast. That's one thing coming into the game we really want to do is play with a lot of the tempo and really, really press the gas. And because we knew they hadn't seen anything like that. So we were able to do that. And, you know, our offense, you know, it's always that initial first down. You get that initial first down, you can get rolling, you can start getting the ball all over the place. And, you know, right now, we're able to run the football, we're able to throw the football. So it's a blessing right now. Hopefully we can keep it up and keep playing at a high level.
Back-to-back weeks scoring over 60 points. Talk about Levi Pender, because this guy now has already eclipsed 1,000 yards passing mark. He's already got double-digit touchdowns. I mean, he does. It seems like you and him are on the same page every single time. The touch on his passes. What has he been as a leader for your football team at the quarterback position?
I mean, I think I've said this several times on this show. Levi does such a good job at playing quarterback, just like a point guard does in basketball.
Yeah.
He's able to get the ball distributed out to our guys. read what we're trying to do pre-snap. And most important thing is, we're such a huge RPO offense, is he's making the right calls on, numbers in the box. Do we need to run the ball? Do we need to get the ball on the perimeter? So he's seeing the field really well. I can't say enough about Zion Webb, Coach Webb coming in and coaching him, and the relationship they have together right now. So we're just all on the same page. And I have my hand in the quarterback room also. I kind of cut my teeth doing that as I coach Zion, and I've coached a lot of other guys there. But Zion knows exactly what I want, and he's coaching him at a high level. And Levi's just that athlete that's so calm and cool back there. Nothing really flusters him, and he's playing really well for us right now.
And it's awesome to see the trust you have in him to be able to make those decisions. Sometimes offensive coaches, like to predetermine the quarterback. You're not allowing him to do that. You're allowing him to make those decisions, which is awesome. Talk about your coaching staff. You talked about Zion Webb, Earl Alexander. Again, the offensive line coach. Everybody's clicking on the same page. What does that mean to have continuity within your coaching staff?
Well, it's huge. And, also Tyler Martin's coaching the offensive line along with my father, Coach Nelson. And we got a very tight coaching staff, not just offensively, but defensively also. And I trust those guys. I believe in those guys. I know they got my back. I know they got our program's back. And we all work really well together. And I've said this from day one, and we're not about offense and defense or special teams at Glenwood. We're about Glenwood football and one family and one team and one heartbeat. And, when we win, we all win. When we lose, we all lose. But, our coaching staff does a heck of a job with our guys, and they come to work every single day. And, they're coaching very well right now.
Exactly right. And this was honestly a de facto region championship between both of you teams, because Lee Scott losing to Dadeville. Right now, you're 2 games up on Lee Scott, and obviously Dadeville has multiple losses. This was going to really decide who was going to be in the forefront and who can win a region championship. Able to get that win against a really good Randolph County team. Okay, I don't want people to understand. They see you put up 68. You're like, well, maybe Randolph County wasn't that good. No, I think this was more to do with how good you are, Coach. But defensively, there were a couple of mishaps that seemed to happen. But I'm going to give credit to the number 2, Winston, the running back. He probably had over 200 yards rushing. That guy was electric. But what did you learn about your defense when they made the stops they needed to?
I think the biggest thing is we made some really good halftime adjustments. And that's what I challenge our defensive staff with, is coming out in the second half and making adjustments and playing better. So we kind of handled him a little bit better in the second half. The main thing is we just didn't tackle the guy in the first half. And we were there a lot of times to make plays. We didn't make them. I told you before the show, I don't think it was a schematic issue or things like that. We had guys there to make plays, and we got to do better. We got to tackle better. But it's okay, because a lot of people don't understand this. It's a back and forth, almost like a tennis match right there in the first half.
It was.
And then we score, get a stop, score, get another stop, and then we block a punt and get a short field right before half, and we were able to punch that in and go up 3 scores. So that was phenomenal, and that was huge. That's something we've been working on here for about 2 or 3 weeks now, just, getting in there, and we felt like we could block a punt, and credit to Asher getting there and blocking that punt. So, defensively, we got to get our edge back, and I think we will. And, it ain't like we're fixing to change our scheme or change our personnel or anything like that. We've got to get back to playing who we were in the year. And, but we faced 2 really good offenses the last 2 ball games we played in Beulah and obviously Randolph. And but my hat's off to Randolph. They got a great program. They've been deep in the playoffs the last 2 years. Phenomenal coach, phenomenal running back. So thank gosh we ain't got to really worry about them, or hopefully we won't see them again unless we get really deep in the playoffs.
Exactly right, Coach. And like you may mention, I guess I really should go back a little bit. It was a back and forth game. They were up by 1 point. Now, after they were up by 1 point, 21-20, you scored 3 straight, like you may mention, going into the half, 41-21 with all the momentum, because it seemed like we were going to have one of those shootout type games, and that helps you obviously in the second half get a couple stops. You end up going about 3 or 4 scores, and it was over by then. But Mekhi Simpson was the Alex Quinney All-State Good Hands Player of the game. This guy was electric. He was shaking some people out of their shoes, it seemed like. He catch out of the backfield. He was also running. He also played some on defense. Talk about Mekhi Simpson, what it means to your program.
Well, I think if you saw Mekhi play Friday night, you finally saw Mekhi Simpson of the old. And, he got his legs back, and I've been saying this way back when we beat Valley. Mekhi's going to be one of these guys every single week. He's going to get better, and better. And you saw the other night, like his speed and his quickness and his feet were finally back to what he used to be. And, he just played outstanding. I can't say enough about him. He starts for us at outside linebacker. Him and JB are kind of 1-2 punch at running back, but he had some electrifying runs. He had some great catches out of the backfield too. And just can't say enough about his effort and what he brings to our football team. But again, like I tell our guys, we're not based off one guy.
No.
We're a team, we're a family. And, when we go play like we did the other night, I tell them all, everybody gets a chance to eat. Because you look at Cam Cooper, who had an outstanding ball game for us.
Yes, he
did.
Look
at JB, who had an outstanding ball game for us. So, those guys right there, and, I have always said this is, even back when I was offensive coordinator, the more playmakers you have, almost kind of the more bullets you have in your gun,
right,
the harder it is to stop you offensively. Because they can't key on either you run or pass, and they can't key on
right,
one guy. So we just want to continue to spread the ball out, and, this Friday night may be somebody else's night. So it's all going to be dictated how the defense plays us and what kind of coverage they give us. And hopefully we can identify it, figure it out, and get the ball to who we need to win.
45.5 points per game. That's how much the Glenwood Gators are averaging right now through the first 6 weeks of the season. Final question on this game, and we'll take a break and we'll talk about what you got coming up here the rest of the season, specifically this Friday. Homecoming. Okay, to win the game the way you did in homecoming and seeing the former alumni that came out and support, to see where the program is in such a good place, I know that had to make you feel good.
It really did, and just to see and really get to meet some of those people, because from the 70s and 80s they came back, and I was able to meet some of them before the game and things like that, and some of them hadn't been to a game in 10 years, so it is amazing, and I think people that hadn't been to our place, really since I got there, it has changed, and it is a lot different than it was, 3 or 4 years ago, especially on the football field. So, we just try every day to pull our sleeves up through it and work our tails off, and I pour my heart and soul in this thing.
You do,
and that's all I try to do is try to give Glenwood and give the family and the school at Glenwood the best product we possibly can. And most importantly, what I talk the most about to our kids every single day is class and discipline. And that's what we want to, build the program off of. We want to have class, we want to have discipline out there, but also we want to win too. So, I think all that kind of comes together. But, we're right back at it, yesterday, back in there working, and back at it this morning and back on the field, because this week right here is by far the biggest game we've played probably in Glenwood history in football, especially since I've been there.
Yeah.
And because it's a monumental week for us if we can figure out how to go win, and because it's kind of breaking history, and it's something that's never been done before. So, we're excited about this week, and I challenged the guys yesterday when we team meet yesterday, and anytime you got a chance to play for a championship, you got to be locked in and ready to go.
Exactly right. And we're going to talk about who they're playing this week. Coming up next, it's the Glenwood Coaches Show with Coach Ryan Nelson, Thrift Behringer here on Georgia, Alabama Sports Live from Mike and Ed's Barbecue.
Are you looking for a great deal on a powerful new Chevrolet or GMC full-size truck? Check them out. Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierras side by side at Glenn Smith in Opelika, Alabama. Take your choice of brand new 2024 Chevrolet and GMC 1500 trucks, discounted up to $15,000 off, or 0% financing, plus no payments till next year. Here at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back to the Glenwood Coach Show here from Mike and Ed's Barbecue. Thrift Behringer with Coach Ryan Nelson. You talked about what this week could mean. It could be a region championship. If you do win, you would clinch, and that's even before you play your rival Lee Scott, which is pretty incredible to do it this early in the season. Shows you what kind of year you're having. But let's talk about Dadeville. Last week, coming into Lee Scott, they were winless, and they go on the road to Lee Scott and win 13-10. Now you go to their place. You throw out records when you start talking about region opponents, and especially in high school football, anything can happen. Especially what you just saw with Alabama and Vanderbilt. Especially in a region opponent. What is your message to your team to make sure something like that doesn't happen after riding a high with the win last week?
Well, I think the most important thing, Thrift, is for us in our building is we don't never really hype any other game up more than any other game.
Right.
So we're going to come in this week and prepare just like we did last week, like we did the week before, and it's just this week we have a chance to kind of finish something and win a region championship.
Unreal.
So it is, I guess the stakes are a little higher because you are actually playing for something this week, but we're not going to prepare any different. We're not going to change our schedule. We're not going to do anything any different but go out there and hopefully put the work in, throughout the week, and hopefully we're prepared, and hopefully we can bring home this W, Friday night, and bring back some hardware, to Glenwood.
I can't wait, Coach. Hope we can have the region championship trophy here on the show. talk about this Dadeville team. What are some of the things you've seen from them that kind of gives you a cause for concern, and who is this Dadeville team that you're?
Well, first and foremost, they've played a very tough schedule. And they were winless up until last week, but when you turn the film on defensively, they're really fast.
Yep.
And they run around. They held at least got to 10 points, which is very, when I first heard it, I didn't think that would happen. But when you turn the film on, you know why. I mean, they're really good inside linebacker.
Yep.
They got really good DBs. Their front's really big. So they end up moving one of their receivers to quarterback. So, it's kind of gave them a little bit more of a power runner at quarterback. And so they kind of kept Lee Scott off the field also. But it's a team that they're playing for their playoff lives too. And they still have 3 region games left. So they're 1 and 2 in the region, so they still got the capabilities of making the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So we are definitely expecting a very tough physical ball game again this week, which, it's kind of, every region game we've played has been like that. So here you go again, roll your sleeves up, get ready to play. But, I hope our guys can prepare. And like you said, don't sit here and worry so much about what we did last week or buying into this or buying into that. But really, I challenge our group this week to understand, look, opportunities in life don't come that often.
Yeah.
So when you get them, you got to make the most of them. So here it is. I mean, we got opportunities. So let's put the work in, throughout the week, and let's show up on Friday and give ourselves the best chance to win.
Coach, saying in week 7 or week 8, I guess, that your team is a win away from winning a region championship in the first year of the AHSA. Now, I know you had goals and aspirations at the beginning of the season, but to do it this quickly and the way your team has performed, I know you don't want to look back, and I know you still got a long way to go to finish where your ultimate goal is maybe win a state championship this year. But let's talk about right now in the moment. I mean, that's pretty cool and surreal to have your program where it's at right now.
Yeah, it is. And, a lot of people are not going to believe this, but, I thought back in June and July when I saw us and I saw what kind of team we capable was going to have. And the main thing is the leadership. And, the 15, 16 seniors we got, they've been winners since they've been here, and they've won in other sports, and we've won in this sport. So I kind of knew it's just kind of thrift. You got to kind of get everything and pair it together.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing to do in high school football is you got so many, people over here, You got offense, you got defense, you got special teams. So it's my job to kind of get everybody, together, pair everything together. And, I think the Valley win was just huge for our program. I think it kind of just was a stepping stone, and the way we did it to get down and come back. And it just, ever since then, we come back in the second half. Our guys have been locked in. We believe in each other. They believe in the coaches. We believe in the players. And, we just been rolling. So hopefully we can continue to do that. It's still a long season.
Right.
We still got a long way to go. We still got 3 ball games left in the regular season. But, the one good thing is we have clinched a playoff spot.
Yep.
So we are there. And that was one of the big things last week going into that Randolph game. That was a goal of ours, to get to the playoffs.
Right.
And we knew if we got the 4 wins in the region, we'd be clinched, and we are. So that's kind of one of the things that we kind of kicked the door down on that. Now we're trying to move on to bigger and better things. That's win the region. And, like I told the kids Sunday, this will be something they'll never, ever, if we can win Friday, they can't ever take it away from you. And it's something you'll be able to tell your kids about. And we're just trying to kick down doors and break barriers, man.
I'm going to ask a media question. I know what your answer is going to be, but now that as you're undefeated, now you're getting mentioned up there as one of the top 8 teams that can win a state championships, have you kind of got to look around the state other than your region? Or are you just focused on what you're doing right now and 1 week at a time?
I am. And look, I've been on the other side of that as an assistant. And, you sit here, you're in the playoffs, you start looking at brackets and things like that. I've just learned in my career, now that I've got a little older and wiser, it's just pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Focus on what you got to do this week, and then focus on what we got to do next week, and then we'll have a bye week. Now, once we have a bye week, I'm sure we'll start kind of looking into, because you'll be in the playoffs.
Right.
You should know where your seeding is, so you'll start kind of looking and things like that during that week. But right now, I promise you, I have watched multiple hours of Dadeville, and that's all we're focused on right now. And again, once we get done next week and we move on and we get to that bye week, we'll kind of, pump the brakes a little bit and see where we're at and focus on the playoffs a little bit.
I cannot wait for that, Coach. They got their game against Dadeville. We won't be broadcasting it, but it will be at 8 o'clock. Go out there, support the Gators as they take on Dadeville this upcoming week. And then next week is Lee Scott. We will be there for that. Game day will be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So cannot wait, Coach, as you've got 3 more games to finish out this season. Final question to your fans out there, to you know, the parents, the alumni? What do you want them to do these final couple weeks? I know you get your phone blown up. Everybody's patting you on the back saying, congratulations making the playoffs, Coach. But what are some things you want them to know before we wrap up this broadcast?
We're not finished yet. And like I just said, we got a long season. And one of our big-time goals right now in our building is winning a region championship.
Yep.
And because here's the thing, and you know, I've been doing this a long time in public school, and I know the playoffs are 5 weeks long.
Yeah.
So anytime you get to the playoffs, if you can find a way to win the region, where you're guaranteed a home playoff game the first week. If you win the region, usually, unless there's major upsets, you're going to be guaranteed the first 2 at home.
Yep.
So as you're trying to win in the playoffs, it's always easier to stay at home.
Yep.
And I have to travel and things like that, and especially travel all the way down to Mobile and things like that.
No.
So that's the most important thing. And you know, I told the coaches this on Sunday. What you do in October sets you up for your playoff run in November. So we're just trying to finish the goal right here, and you know, finish one way, just somehow, some way, just to win the region championship. And hopefully, with that being done, it'll set us up for November, and we can make a long run in the playoffs. But you know, I just challenge our fans this week. Please show up for these kids in Daywell, Alabama. We need y'all.
Yep.
And we had a great crowd on Friday, and I can't thank y'all enough for showing up and supporting these kids and really getting up and cheering and making a great atmosphere, because it was a electric atmosphere we had Friday night at the Swamp.
100%.
It was awesome. And so we got to hopefully take that down to Daywell, Alabama, and we need all the support we can get.
No doubt about it, Coach. And by the way, we don't have any players here for today's show because they're all supporting the Glenwood volleyball team. They're playing for an area region championship right now against Lee Scott. Yep. They won the first set. It's on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Go and watch that right now. So we, again, appreciate everyone and all the support of what we do, and we look forward to continuing, hopefully, many more games this rest of this year, hopefully, to a state championship game. Coach Helton, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, buddy. Good to see you also.
We're going to take actually, we're not going to take a break. We're going to end this broadcast here at Mike and Ed's Barbecue because I'm hungry and I need some food.
That's right.
Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll see you next time. Football is back, and the only thing that makes it better is some delicious food from Zaxby's. They're a proud sponsor of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And I can tell you that everyone on this team loves their chicken. Get all the favorites, such as their signature chicken sandwich, or try the new chicken finger tacos with your favorite drink. From amazing salads, wings, chicken fingers, and some of the best drinks around, there isn't a better way to enjoy our broadcast without getting some fantastic meals from Zaxby's. Check out the 2 here in Phoenix City, one off Crawford Road and the other on US 80. Thank you again to Zaxby's for sponsoring Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and make sure you call them for all your catering and tailgating needs this football season.